Alright, hey everyone, for this video we're going to be doing the Power O, or the power play, just your standard power scheme. This is arguably the most common play used at the FBS and the college level. There are very few teams out there that do not run this play. Even down at lower levels, this play is everywhere. It's one of the most common types of run concepts out there. It's applicable to a wide range of offenses. There's lots of ways to run it, and it's a nice, simple, sound scheme. So there's a few ways to describe what kind of play power is. Most coaches and people will describe it as a man blocking or gap blocking or simply a power blocking play. The way I define things is I like to define man blocking and gap blocking is kind of similar. Now gap blocking is what I consider as a type of blocking scheme where linemen and generally on the play side are responsible for blocking the gap to their inside. So that means if I was running a gap play with this tackle, he's primarily responsible for the area inside of him. So that is why I consider power a gap scheme, because generally the play side of the line is all blocking inside of them. You can also call it a man blocking play too, because you manually assign the defenders to blockers, especially if you're the fullback or whoever's going to make the kickout block or whoever's going to be the lead back, because they have, one specifically blocks the defensive end or outside linebacker, and the other specifically blocks the play side linebacker. So that's why it can also be called a man scheme. Really, you can call it whichever one you want it, but in the end, I still think it's a power scheme. And I define power. So in order to have a power play, there's three particular things you need to have. You need to have a kick out. You need to have a double team. Inside the point of attack. A kick out block outside the point of attack. And a lead blocker coming through the hole for the play side linebacker. So we need to have a double team inside the hole, kick out outside the hole, lead back. So the reason why I like this rule is that it doesn't require any specific player to do any of these roles. You can do it with any players on the field and still have a power scheme. But for this video, we're going to do the basic one that most of you have seen before. Again, if you follow college or NFL, you've seen this play ran before, so we're just going to break it down here. So we're going to go through the assignments on the line first. We're going to say we're running power right. So running power to this side. Now, power is an off-tackle play. Typically, it attacks either the B gap, which is the guard tackle gap, or the C gap, the tackle tight end gap. Most people teach it as a C gap off-tackle play. The rules, primarily for the play side of the line, they're going to follow a rule what's called on backside, or at least where I coached, this was the rule we gave them. It was called on backside. That means these guys are all going to block whoever is over them or backside of them. So a defender who is on them is directly over them. So anything over the tight end to backside is on or backside. This defensive end / outside linebacker here is outside of him. He is neither on nor backside. Therefore, he won't block him. All right, and it's the same rule that goes down the line. So we'll get these guys taken care of first. So in your standard power play against this front and odd front, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this would be like a 3-4 or a 5-2. Against an odd front, the tight end's job is to block on backside. Actually, I take that back. For tight end specifically, since we're attacking right here, it's strictly down. So he's just blocking backside or down. So he's going to block down to the first thing that's inside of him. That's this lineman right here. All right, and again, my mistake, he's blocking down, because if he blocks on, he's kind of setting himself up right in the hole where we're trying to attack. The next man inside is the tackle. His rule is on backside. He's going to block whatever's on him or backside of him. This guy is right over him, or considered on him. So he's going to block him. That naturally sets up your double team. So there's your double team you're looking for in power. All right. Now, when there's a double team, typically the two blockers are going to be keying a linebacker and trying to pick him off. So for these, and I'm going to get to that in a second. The guards, again, responsibility is on, backside. Now, linebackers typically don't count with this rule. All right, so when they say mean on, they mean there's a defensive lineman right over him. There is no one over him, there's no one on him. So he goes on, backside. Backside of him, there is this nose guard. So he's going to block on, backside. That's going to end up being a down block. When you execute a down block by these two, you step with your inside foot first. They're going to step with their, in this case, their left foot down towards this defender. And then for this guy who's blocking on, he's typically going to step with his right foot or his play side foot to drive block him. Center's rule is on, backside. He has someone on him, so he's going to block him. Step with that play side foot and drive. That creates two double teams. Let's see. So now here's going to be the puller, and this is going to be your backside player. Now he's going to pull, but before I get to that, the tackle, backside tackle, has what's called a fill responsibility. Fill means somebody next adjacent to you is leaving to go somewhere else, meaning you have to step down and fill the hole they are leaving. In that case, it's this guard. He's going to be pulling away. So his job is to step hard down the line, so almost sometimes even flat or even take a bucket step backwards to get in a position behind. So he'll kind of step hard flat and close this area off. And then he'll block whatever shows. If this backer blitzes, he'll pick him up. If this guy loops over, let's say this guy pinches. Since he's in a pinch, that's who will end up blocking. So for the guard, his job is to pull and block the play side linebacker. So that is the linebacker on the play side. There are two here in this case. They don't include linebackers that are on the line. They don't count in this rule. So it's strip backers at linebacker depth. So that's this guy right here. So he's going to pull, and he's going to lead block through the hole. So he's going to go around the double team and block the play side linebacker. There is your lead block. So we've already gotten the double team inside the point of attack, and we've gotten the lead block. And that's all with the offensive lineman. Now, a quick little note here. When there's two typical ways linemen pull. Most of your lower levels in high school, they'll teach these guards to back up with their inside foot. So they'll take a step back with the right foot and then sprint. Just go on a full-on sprint the whole way through. Or you'll see at the college and NFL levels, it's what's called a skip pull, where he will actually jump backwards off the line and then do a skip or crossover step and then run. Teams like to do that, one, when your guard is athletic enough to do it, but two, it keeps the guard facing the defense, so he can always keep his eye on his linebacker. Sometimes when a guy turns and runs parallel to the line, he might lose sight of that linebacker, or maybe another linebacker coming over. So again, there's skip pull and a straight up regular pull. So that's the offensive line. Your receivers, you can do what you want them. You can have them run off routes to see how the corner, the secondary reacts to different types of releases. You can have them stalk block the corners. You can have them go block the near safety. Let's say for this example, in this obscure offense, the rule is for the wide receivers on power is to block the near safety. All right, so they're going to go block the near safety. All right, so now we need to get our kickout block. So we're still missing that, and this guy is still unblocked. The kickout block is going to be executed, in this case, in this basic I formation, by the fullback, or H-back. All right? So he's going to execute what many call a J block. A J block is technically supposed to be shaped like the letter J, but the idea is he's going to, rather than going straight, it might look like he's going to be running straight to kick him out, but the danger with that is that you leave this guy room to come down and under. And we don't want that to happen. So whoever's doing this kickout, if they're from the backfield, will be taught what's called a J block typically, where they step forward hard and then angle out. Because that closes down that gap that this end can come penetrate through to. All right? And then right here is where they're trying to hit. Just that little hole. So I'm going to use the rules where I coached to explain the tailback's steps and how the tailback moves. What he's going to do is he's going to take a side step with his play side foot, and then his second step is going to be a crossover step. So a side step and a crossover step. So he should set up about right over the guard. and then he's going to attack downhill. Now, I've seen two basic ways. Either they have him run straight to the hole, but a lot of teams, especially at the NFL and college level, you're going to see him come straight down, almost straight down. So they're not even going to run at the C gap where they're running, but they're going to come right at this guard. The reason why they do that is, one, it allows these two players more time to get out to the hole, especially if this guy's really fast. If he runs straight to the hole, he risks beating them there. And it forces these linebackers to hang in the middle. Linebackers might often be keying this, so when they see him step straight downhill, they might come up. By them coming up here, it brings them away from this hole over here, which makes it easier and buys this guard more time to come around and get the block. All right, so he's going to come down, and then once he gets the ball from the quarterback, he does what's called a jump cut. It's basically like a skip, like a side skip. He jump cuts and follows the pulling guard through the hole. Quarterback reverse pivots out, gets deep, gets in the ball, and the quarterback keeps rolling. Now, this action by the quarterback can become very important because if, let's say, a defense brings this safety up and he's hanging out up here for some reason, he's a threat of coming in here to make the play. So this quarterback needs to sell a hard rollout or a hard QB sweep to pull this defensive back away from the hole. And then, of course, let's say he's doing this and the defensive back keeps rushing in. You'll run like a QB keep or a power pass, some sort of play action off this play to take advantage of that. Now, another little thing here that some teams will teach, especially the ones that like to have the running backs attack straight downhill, is they'll teach their running back to read the A gap or this area. Sometimes, actually, you know what? I'll show it against the 4-3 because it'll make more sense then. So, I'll get this out of here. We'll redraw the play. So we'll show it against a 4-3 now. And do a little variation, why not? Do an offset eye. And then, all right, so we're doing a 4-3 now. So we got a defensive lineman here, there. All right. All right, so let's go down the line again and just do the rules quickly. Tight end blocks down. There's nobody here. And even if he steps down, there's nobody here right away, so he's just going to keep going. Typically, this defensive tackle's too far inside for him to block anyways, so he's just going to keep going. Boom, middle linebacker. On, backside. There's nobody on him, but there is someone backside of him. Blocked down. On. Now, this guard is this defensive tackle is usually in an outside shade. That's still considered close enough to be on him, so he's going to step with his play side foot and create that, and there's your double team. So now we've got the double team again. Now our center block's on, backside. There's no one on or backside, so he's going to step back and take out this guy. Guard's going to pull. Again, skip or run. Play side linebacker. Now when he makes this turn too, he's got to hug this double team tight. He wants to be as tight to this hole as he can so he doesn't risk running into to the kickout block over here. And then, of course, there's the fill block by the tackle. So step down, and then block whatever shows. So now you have your J block here by your fullback or H-back. So what I was going to get to is sometimes teams will teach their backs, especially if they want him running downhill. He makes his side step, crossover step, and he's coming downhill. They'll teach him to read this A gap against even fronts because sometimes these backers will fly out of here so quickly that this gap actually opens up and he can actually pipe it straight up here without even going to the hole. Doesn't happen too often, but I know Wisconsin in particular, a few years ago, they used to teach it that way and they would get a lot of big runs off that. They'd be trying to run C gap, defense would over pursuit, and the back would just pipe it up the A gap. Before I forget this backside linebacker, he's got to be blocked. So all that's left, everyone's occupied except this double team here. There's 2-on-1. So I mentioned earlier that when there's a double team, the two linemen will key a backer. That's this guy. Now I mentioned earlier it's a gap type of play where everyone's looking backside. So Instead of looking play side or over them, they're going to look backside. So one of these two will read that backer, and wherever he comes, so if he comes over this way, he'll come off and pick him up. Or if he comes inside like this guard will come off the double team to pick him up. All right, so that's how it's going to look against an even front. Again, back against the ball, jump cuts through the hole. All right, and again, you got your split wide receivers out here doing whatever it is you have them do in your system. Now, something that also happens a lot, especially at the college and NFL ranks, defenses at these levels are taught to do what's called spill and kill, or a spill defense, meaning they're trying to make all runs bounce to the outside or towards the sideline. So what they'll teach, what these defensive ends are often taught, is if they get a down block, they're supposed to step down with that down block and squeeze. So he's going to go block this tight end, and let's say, so he reads this, and he's going to squeeze down. Let's get a different color here. So when he sees this tight end step down, he's going to squeeze down with it, and he's going to use what's called a wrong arm technique. Usually if a defensive end at this level is going to know when this happens, power's coming. So what he's going to attempt to do when this kickout comes is get underneath that block using what's called a wrong arm technique. He's going to take this outside shoulder and ram it as hard as he can into the fullback. So he's coming here. He's trying to wrong arm, hit again, take this outside shoulder and ram it right into this fullback and slide underneath. All right. So sometimes that works. The guy gets in the hole and then it forces the run to bounce. And that's bad for an offense. You never want your running back bouncing out in a bubble look like this. So what teams will do is what's called log or seal, or wash it down. You might hear this more with pulling linemen, but it's called a log block. Basically, you're trying to kick somebody out, but he's coming so far flat you can't do it. He's getting inside of you. So what teams will teach this guy to do, or whoever's doing the kick out, is to simply not accept it, but seal it. Use that wrong arm to his disadvantage. So when he uses that wrong arm to crash into you, step outside and seal it down. So rather than a kick out block, it's going to look more like that. The running backs typically at this level understand this is a thing that's going on. So as they get that ball and they're looking for that kick out, once they see the defensive end disappearing here, it's a nice easy flow out. It's just like their old jump cut that they're doing regularly, and they can do it without avoiding the bounce. So when you see teams run power a lot, especially the college and NFL level, it doesn't go in the C gap that often. It bounces an awful lot, and that's why. Now for the guard, this is challenging too, because again, he sees the seal down. There's no point in him crashing in here, so he's going to bypass that and come around. And the play almost ends up turning into a sweep. So rather than trying to hit the C gap, this guy squeezes down in wrong arms. We log him, seal him inside, and then our guard's going to come around for the play side backer instead, and we just take it wide, and it turns into pretty much a sweep play. So that's the log adjustment, or the log block adjustment to the wrong arm technique. So that's why so many power runs you see bounce outside. So that's basically the power play, but I want to show how flexible this is first, because there's a common misconception that power is only used by teams that run the I formation or use lots of two back sets and tight ends. That's not the case. Clemson in particular uses a ton of power. Even Oregon. So this is a formation you might see Clemson in a lot, or Auburn, or one of those other spread-based teams. So the fullback's now here. This is your H-back. Draw it up against a 4-2-5 defense. All right. So again, go through the rules. Now you don't have a tight end. So typically what happens now is the play's gonna hit one hole inside because you don't have that extra gap to block because this guy's out here now. So on inside, on backside. All right. Kick out. There's your J block. Coming around for the play side linebacker. These two will double team and read their way back to this linebacker. Fill. Now in the shotgun, especially if you play the video games, the misconception is that the back and shotgun often comes from the backside. But in reality, a lot of teams run power with the back to the play side. So they'll step towards the quarterback, come downhill straight at the guard like he does in the I formation, and then slides into the hole. That way, the quarterback can ride this mesh almost as if it's a zone read. So a reason why teams do this is that it might look like an inside zone going this way, like a zone read, but in reality, it's a power coming back this way. So power is almost essentially serving as a counterplay. And from here, the quarterback can pretend it's a keep. You can set up the pass. You could even run a packaged play or a run-pass option. So let's say the quarterback keys this guy pre-snap. You got a bubble screen going on out here. Hashtag Lane Kiffin. And then the quarterback will key this guy. And if he comes flying in or comes flying like this when he reads power, quarterback pulls, hits the bubble screen. Or, it might be a double slant or something too. So you might get that. So if this safety leaves, flies upfield or goes away, quarterback pulls, hits the slant. Those package plays are usually okay because those routes are thrown so quickly, the linemen don't have enough time to get downfield to where the play is illegal. So that's kind of how it works with a spread formation. You can also kind of run it without an H-back. It looks a little bit different. So let's say you got like a true spread set like this, or this might look a little different. So do a nice easy front to explain. So this is like a wide 3-4 or 3-2 defense. So again, there's adjustments teams will make to where you run it without your kick out, your back coming across to kick out, or someone pulling to come out and kick out. So it'll look more like a basic just straight ahead running play. But it still has those three features. It has your double team, as your kick out block, but now your kick out blocks will sometimes be ran by this guy. So he'll try and turn him out. All right. Well, I'll try to make that a little more clear. So he's going to try and turn this guy out. And then your pulling guard comes for the lead blocker. And lead blocks for the play side linebacker. We double team through to the backside backer. So that's another way to run power. And then there's the fun high school version. All the multiple types of high school versions you'll see. So let's just do an old school T formation. All right, and then we'll run this against, let's say, a 4-4. Actually, yeah, I do want to show you a 4-4 how this works against a 4-4 because there's a neat little adjustment here. So I mentioned earlier how the tight end's job is to block down. Well, in a lot of 4-4 defenses, this defensive end is going to be in what's called a 7 technique or a 6-eye or an inside shade. So he's going to be engaged. This defender is going to engage the inside shoulder of the tight end. That makes the down block extremely difficult because he's almost directly over the tight end. And let's say even if he wasn't engaging the tight end that much, his path is naturally in that down block path that he's going to take towards this linebacker. So an adjustment some teams might use is called arc. All right, and an arc is an adjustment used by an outside blocker where he's going to outside release, which is called an arc, and he's going to go block this guy out here, this outside linebacker. Now, again, we need our double teams on backside, on backside, on backside. So there's your double team. So now we need our kick out block. There's your kick out block by the halfback. And let's do it out of the Buck series, the old Wing T Buck series. So in the Buck series, your fullback's going to dive backside. And basically, usually he'll make a collision. So he'll try to make it as big of a pile as he can here with as many defenders as possible. Backside guard's going to pull. Play side linebacker. Fill. All right. And then quarterback's going to open up. Fake to the fullback. Give to the halfback. Boot out. All right. So there's power out of the Buck series. So you can see this power can look like a lot of things in a lot of different formations and personnel groupings. There's one more I'm going to end with here, which is one where we don't pull the guard. An old 3-back style power play. All right, we're going to use the power eye. This time we'll run it against a 5-3 or a 3-3-5 stack defense. All right, so now, again, we just go through the steps. Down, on backside, on backside, on backside. We're going to pull for the play side linebacker. Fill. Oops, I said I wasn't going to do it this time. So what he's going to basically do is these two backside defenders, they're going to do what's called a scoop block. So a scoop block is basically a hard play side step, and then get upfield and block whatever shows. All right, so now we've got our double team, but now we still need our kick out block and our lead block. J block the defensive end, lead block for the play side linebacker, these two combo, and block the middle linebacker. All right, usually you leave this guy unblocked, he's not that much of a threat. Again, sidestep, downhill, get the ball and slide through the hole. Quarterback boots out. And then, just for fun, I'm going to show you what it would look like in an old single wing formation. So the single wing was basically the offense that dominated football pre-1950. Often used an unbalanced line called single wing because there's one wing. Get our blocking back here. So in the single wing offense, this is actually your quarterback. Rather than being the quarterback you think of, is usually a bigger back, like an extra big fullback or a glorified lineman who's a glorified fullback, basically. Fullback and halfback. And then let's just do an under look here. All right, so we got this going on here. So again, we'll just go down the line. Where are our rules? We got down block, on backside, on backside, on backside, on backside, pull for the play side linebacker, which we actually already occupied, so that's kind of neat. So he'll just kind of go and continue onto this guy. Combo through to the backside backer. This guy's going to step and fill. So with the swing back, typically he would just go kick out this corner or occupy and run some sort of delay. And then you got to take your blocking back. And there's your kick out block. Now, you can do a lot of things here. You can snap it to this fullback, hand it off to the fullback and hand it off to the halfback. Or what a lot of teams will do is they'll just send an extra blocker through. The fullback will go. The center will snap the ball straight back while he runs across the line. And downhill. So that's what it would look like out of this old single wing formation. So again, that's the power play. It's a gap style play or a man blocking play that has three primary features. A double team inside the hole, kick out outside the hole, lead block through the hole. It doesn't matter what formation you run out of, who's doing what assignments. In my opinion, if it has those three features, you can go ahead and call it a power play. Hope you enjoyed the video. Look forward to doing more.